As useful as those little skull dudes are, I would much rather have the other dungeon. But those skull guys would come in handy against Claviger. I'm not gonna lie. Because we can't really use the dog against them. Since the boss is kind of like floating, the dog's not gonna do much. I mean, I can use him against ads, but that still ain't gonna do much for me. Pop a Bloodwort real quick, so I don't have to waste Dragon Hearts. Oh god.
Who's next?
Woohoo! Alright. Made all those shots count. When you have a big group of enemies like that, if they're not so easily staggerable like these big dudes are, because once they start like coming after you, you can shoot them in the chest or whatever, and they'll just stop chasing you because they'll fall on their ass like that. If it's not like an easy group like these guys, shoot them in their legs, and it usually knocks pretty much any enemy over in the entire game if you just shoot them in the legs. Unless they're too strong. So, it's an easy getaway if you're getting surrounded. God, it's another big guy. Burn. Nope, burning into the ground, boy. Get the fuck out of here. Oh. Alright. Apparently that patch of ground was spring-loaded? I don't understand. He died and then he like got boosted in the air like he hit a freaking jump pad or something. It was kind of funny. Not really sure what happened there. Okay. It's fine with me. It is looking like we got the dungeon that I wanted. So that's cool. We're gonna be able to get Sentinel. It might be a little bit difficult for me to actually do this boss fight, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. I can't use the dog for it either. I'm gonna have to solo the boss fight with no summons. Which is gonna suck for me, but I'll do my best with it. I guess it's a good enough time to go over Rhom dungeons. Like I said, this is the entrance to burrows usually only. The Iron Rift usually has like a tunnel when you come in the entrance, but oh well. Yeah, we got burrows. Which is really good. Honestly, you can even just walk right by this boss fight and not fight anything if you really wanted to, or wanted to come back and ensure that you would win. So, you know, like leave the boss alone and then go power up and come back to fight him. Damn it, I thought I was out of range. I'm not gonna be that cheap. I'm not gonna sit here and go power up. I might buy a different gun or something. Maybe. I might go actually invest in the shotgun. But, I'm not entirely sure. It's not like I can't do it with the hunting rifle, but I do prefer to have Singe's SMG for this, and we didn't get Singe, we got N. So, also the shotgun just makes it easier to guarantee that we get the other thing that I want from the boss fight, so that's the thing. Oh, there's the hornet guy. What the fuck? I guess I can show when you shoot him in the head. Every time you shoot him in the head, he spawns two of the hornet things. Come after you. So, I think that was the first time I actually shot him in the head. He'll spawn them naturally, but every time you shoot him with one headshot, he spawns more. So. dungeons have so many skulls in them. I just killed my dog by killing the skulls. I don't know what just happened. I can't see anything. Oh, hey, it's this guy. Yeah, that guy is not fun if you let him start casting a spell. He basically, when he casts a spell, that guy that we just killed right here, he'll cast a spell, but it'll turn into like 4 different spells at the same time that just hunt down your position until you stagger him. But staggering him while he's casting all of the spells on you is really hard to do, and they do a lot of damage, and also cause a lot of radiation damage, so you definitely want to be careful when doing that stuff. Let's see. I think my dog despawned. That's fine. Wow, so many ammo boxes. I haven't bought a single ammo box, by the way. All these ammo boxes we've just kind of picked up in the world. I usually don't buy ammo boxes anyway. Alright, we got that charm. That charm is a necklace that boosts mod power by 25%? Yeah, mod damage. 25% boost. I've gotten that mod too many times not to know what it does. I don't use it, and I do not like it, because it is kind of useless to me. Especially when I have the Twisted Idol as an option, so... yeah. It's one of those things, you know. If you want to use it, and you have a use for it, then go ahead. If you don't, then don't, in my opinion. Not everything in this game is useful. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this game. That, like, especially with the DLC, there's probably over 40 or 50 rings in the game. And as far as amulets go, there's probably half that of rings. So, like, I don't know if that's, like, exactly right or even close to right, but it sounds about correct, considering my other character has almost everything in the game. But yeah, I don't use 90. Thank you, Doggo. Doggo just saved me. See, he does have his moments. It's very freaking rare, but he does have his moments when he saves my ass. Yeah, like usually you'll find a setup that you like, and then you'll just stick with that through the entire game. Even if you make another character, you'll probably spend most of the game hunting down the setup that you used before, unless you're stubborn enough to actually go out of your way and get a different loadout. But yeah. That's one. There's the other one. Oh, there is a big dude at the end. Yeah, this guy. You really want to stagger him as fast as possible. Because he just sits there and tries to cast that ridiculous spell, like I said. I'm surprised there weren't more of that guy in here. Usually when I have a dungeon with that spellcaster guy, there's like 5 or 6 of them in the dungeon. It becomes hell, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing that I only ran into 2 of them, but I'm just surprised. I mean, I guess there were a couple of the Hornet guys taking their place, but still. Okay. See, my problem is I'm either gonna have to play with the Mantle of Thorns, which I've never used, or I'm gonna have to play with like Rattleweed or something else. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to play with Rattleweed more than likely, because there's a lot of ads in this fight, and I don't have the Singe weapon. I mean, this is a reflex melee damage, which I'm not really understanding. It reduces melee damage taken, and then it reflects 150% of melee damage taken. Does that mean if something hits me with melee damage, it's gonna die? I don't know. Alright, I guess we're gonna find out, though, because I'm going to use it, because it's probably the most beneficial thing for me to use right now. Again, this is a fight where there's really no... Oh, I'm actually below zone rating right now, so I guess this is where I go up to plus 10, if I can. I don't think I have enough gear to go to plus 10, so I'll just try and go to like plus 7 or something. There's no real crit spot on this boss, so, or not crit. God, I keep saying crit, but weak spot. There's like no headshot thing for this boss. So, don't worry about headshotting him or anything like that. I'm surprised I still only have 8 perks. It's kind of weird. I would have expected to get another one by now. Weird. Alright, I'm gonna go upgrade my gear, because as you saw, we had 2 red down arrows. Well, wait. We had 1 red down arrow. Both on our weapons and on our armor. I've done this fight at plus 5 before. It's not the most difficult thing in the world to do. But again, I would rather have Singe's SMG. I don't know. It just makes this fight a lot easier when you can burn the world down. Having a mini flamethrower helps a lot with that. It's basically what Singe's SMG is. It's basically a mini flamethrower. But we have the SMG with the hotshot mod, which is essentially the same thing, but not really. To be honest, I'm more interested in upgrading my armor than my weapons for this fight. I'll do enough damage with other stuff that I don't need to upgrade my weapons right now. I would much rather upgrade my armor to... I think I'm gonna go to plus 8. Oh, that's the wrong pair of boots. Okay. Yeah, I'm at 239 defense now. With the amulet on, which should be plenty. If I'm taking more damage than I should, then there's something wrong with the game, probably. I am going to be able to upgrade my weapons a little bit, it looks like. So, I'm going to do 2 upgrades on both. Yep, plus 7 and plus 8.
Keep moving.
Alright, so my armor's at plus 8, my weapons are at plus 7. Which is good. I ran out of forged iron. Probably from all the iron upgrades that I had to do. Which is fine. I don't really care. We got this unlocked by picking one up. So I'm going to pick up 10 of them. Mainly because the one boss during this fight uses radiation, which is going to suck a little bit. So we should be okay though. I'm going to check our gear to make sure it's up to snuff when we get back, but we should have at least a green up arrow on defense, if not diamonds on both. We only had 1 down arrow, which means the dog wasn't at plus 8. At least I don't think so. Yeah, we got 2 diamonds. So that means the dog is probably plus 7 or plus 8 in here. I mean, it sucks, but hey, sometimes that's just how it is. Alright, so for this boss fight, the way I do it, personally, is I leave this guy alone. But as you can see, there's a thing sticking out of his forehead. Aiming at him is not gonna trigger him or anything. But you see this thing sticking out of his forehead. That's what we need to do the fight next to the shopkeeper that I mentioned. So we have to break the thing in his head. The funny thing is, during this fight, when you break the thing in his head, which I guess you just call it a control rod. Once it's broken, the game actually considers him not to be an enemy anymore, and he'll just stand there completely still, not able to do anything. You basically essentially just fry his brain, and then he's just standing there. The bigger problem with this fight is all these dogs. And this dog, because this dog is the leader. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to bop this dog, crank on my fire, and just set everything on fire. I'm going to avoid the guy from the beginning and focus down the dog. And now I have Mantle of Thorns, which is kind of cool. It looks cool at least. The faster I kill this dog, the less ads I have to go through. Which is good. Especially since he's a vicious one, so he's doing a lot of damage. Damn it. Fine. There we go. Alright, he's dead. Okay, it does reflect damage, because that dog just took damage when it bit me. That's cool. Alright, I'm gonna finish off the dog ads, and then we're gonna shoot this guy in the face. Oh, never mind, we're gonna heal first. Because we're about to die. Come on. I actually have to shoot him directly in the forehead. Or the back of the head, one of the two. Yeah, okay, I broke the control rod. Assumingly, if there's any dogs left, yeah, see, my character already says the fight's over. As soon as I did anything. But yeah, he's not going to do anything for the rest of the fight. He's just kind of here. That's how this fight works. I'm still going to drill him in the forehead to make extra sure that the control rod's broken. Because I really want the control rod. But, yeah. And when you finish the fight, if you did it correctly, you'll get the Hound Choker. And you'll also get the control rod that was in the dude's forehead.
I call that a win.
I call that a win too. That was actually really good. I almost died, and I didn't expect Mantle of Thorns to actually be useful, but I think the boss took a little bit of damage from it, and that one dog, you could clearly see it actually worked on him. And when he bit me, it lunged him back and made him take like almost half his health and damage. Which is kind of cool. But yeah, for that fight, I highly recommend you use either healing for your mod on your long gun, or that you use Flicker Cloak, which is what you get from labs. So if you're suicidal enough to do labs and then do the dogs, use Flicker Cloak, because that reflects damage in its entirety for a certain amount of damage for a certain amount of time, which is really good. Mantle of Thorns just lessens melee damage and reflects some of it. The other thing I recommend for that boss fight is to have fought Singe and got the SMG from Singe, because again, that is my favorite way to do it. It's basically a hotshot mod, but it regens so much faster and does so much more. Because you can basically just turn it into a mini flamethrower. That's all it is. You turn it into a mini flamethrower for its mod. And the mini flamethrower gets 50 charges. So if you don't just sit there and spam it, and you sit there and like tap it, like you're tapping to spray fire a gun or something, the flamethrower part will like almost never run out, and you can basically kill the mobs in that fight, the little mini dogs, without any effort at all from the flamethrower. You touch them with the flamethrower part, and they get set on fire, but also the flamethrower does like 80% of their HP, and then they burn for like 1 or 2 ticks and they're dead. So you're golden. And it comes in handy with the boss too. It's a higher damage SMG, so you can always use it to shoot the dude in the forehead if you've run out of long gun ammo as well. So that's always a thing. Okay, this boss is gonna get put to +8 probably, so I'm gonna, let's see here. I can't really get any more forged iron, but I do want to go get the Sentinel mod, so I'm gonna go do that. So let's travel to Wood. His name is Wood. W-U-D. That's the shopkeeper's name. I'm gonna use the dog for this fight because the extra damage output on the boss is really good. Again, this is another fight I like having Singe's SMG for. It just makes it a little bit easier having that flamethrower mod and all. It's not like the worst thing in the world or anything, so. I mean, our scenario right now is not like the worst thing in the world. The SMG from Singe is kind of busted if you use it correctly. But there's also a lot of fights where hot shot on the SMG is a lot more beneficial than a mini flamethrower in your hand. So. I haven't used the gun reward that you can get from End, so I'm not entirely sure how useful it is. But that could also be a useful gun. I don't know. It's like a one-shot shotgun that leaves gassy clouds of spores and stuff where you shoot with its ability. So I don't know. I've never used it, but it's a pretty powerful shotgun. I mean, it goes up in increments of 40 damage when you upgrade it, so it's kind of crazy. Okay, so I mentioned this guy earlier. If we would have clicked on him, we wouldn't have had anything, but we pulled the control rod out of the back of our head and stick it in him. And then I set him on fire to make the fight. It's a lot easier when you have the flamethrower because it'll actually register your bullets. The game refused to register my bullets. I'm gonna send the dog to get some extra damage in. I wanted to send my fire again. But I think we're fine. Yeah. That turret that he summoned is actually the mod that we get for killing him. He can summon up to 2 of them. It does a lot of damage if you let it during that fight, so my advice, don't let him summon the turrets. Either that or make sure you know where to hide. As you saw, I killed him so fast that the turret got summoned as he was dying. So that's no big deal to me. No big deal. Okay. So, I'm gonna get the turrets, and then I think we have 2 more dungeons to get through. And that's pretty much it for today. We got 2 more dungeons, and then I think today's done. I really did only plan on getting through Rhom today. So, do I have any forged iron? I got money, so I can buy a few pieces.
How's it going? Till next time.
Battle 21. I want to see if I can get my weapons up to +8 because my armor's at +8, so anywhere I go, my armor's going to be on par and my guns are going to be below level.
Certainly.
The reason I'm stopping at +8 instead of like +9 or 10 or whatever is the higher you go, the harder the dungeons are, but also boss weapons scale by 2 because boss weapons only go up to +10. I tried doing the math in my head last night to try and like figure out what was going on with my boss weapons, like why were they messing with my gear. Turns out every level in a boss weapon is 2 levels on regular gear. This is Breath of the Desert, by the way. Discharge 7 radioactive projectiles that will seek towards enemies within 20 meters and deal 30 radiation each. It is kind of busted. Like I said, if I use it at all, I will use it on courses. because enemies on Corsus are weak to radiation damage. That is also why we will be using the beam rifle on Corsus if we can. The beam rifle is super beneficial on that place. Okay, so we're gonna leave the dog equipped for right now because we're gonna go do the side dungeon. In my opinion, this side dungeon is not very hard. It really isn't. Which is weird, for one, because this dungeon constantly drains your health. The entire time you're inside of it, it will constantly drain your health. So it's not like you have time to like look around the dungeon and find anything like traits or ring or whatever. And honestly, I don't even know if there is a trait or ring in this place that you can pick up off the ground, because I'm so focused on getting through it half the time that I just go straight to the end. And it seems like a pretty, like, you know, straightforward dungeon. You run through the halls to the end of it and call it good. And yes, I know for a fact that this is that dungeon because we had 2 mini bosses that were both city, and there's only 2 side dungeons that get this temple entrance. So that's beam rifle and the Wastelander flail.